Let me ask you a question. When you get up in the morning, do you usually feel like, I've got this? I am totally going to rock today. Or when you go to bed at night, do you usually, when your head hits the pillow, feel like you nailed it? I'm Sarah MacKenzie. I am a homeschooling mama of 6. My husband and I have been married for 21 years, and our oldest is 20. Our youngest are 8-year-old twins. I'm also the host of the Read Aloud Revival podcast, and I'm the author of Teaching from Rest, a homeschooler's guide to unshakable peace, and the Read Aloud family. Now, I don't know any homeschooling mom who feels like she's nailing it, who feels like she has everything well in hand. I mean, we all feel like we're in over our heads. We all wonder if we're doing enough, if we're messing this up, if we're forgetting, or maybe just neglecting to get to something really, really important. I think, though, that we might do this because we're getting our marching orders a little mixed up. We're hearing them wrong. I love thinking about the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. So we've got this hillside of hungry people, right? And it's hot and they've been out there for a long time. And the disciples see this throng of people and says, Jesus, like, we don't have anything to feed. We don't have anything to feed these people. So we need to send them away. We don't have enough for them, which is kind of how I feel most school mornings, right? There's all these children and I think I have not enough to give them. Send them away on that yellow school bus, right? Well, one of the things that always intrigues me is that Jesus could have just made there be enough food instantly. He could have just instantly made enough food for everybody, all 5,000 on the hillside. And that might have been more impressive than what he did. Because do you remember what he did? He said, bring me what you have. So they bring him this basket that has, a few loaves of bread and some fish for 5,000 people. I mean, when's the last time you saw 5,000 people at once, right? A basket of loaves and fish. And they say, this is all we have. And he said, bring me what you have and I will make it enough. That's what he's asking of us too. To bring him what we have. You don't feel like what you have is enough? That's because it isn't. That's what grace is for. Now, the secret in the homeschooling world, in homeschooling land, is that this feeling of not really nailing it, of sort of wading through murky waters, never totally figuring it out, it really never goes away. All the experienced homeschool moms that I know who've been doing this for a long time, they never say, I got to everything. We read all the books. We went on all the field trips. We covered everything. In fact, a lot of them will tell me they have something of a grieving process that happens when they're cleaning through their schoolroom, when they're taking out all of the books off the shelf or the curriculum that is still in its shrink wrap, right? And they realize, these are the things I really wanted to do with my kids that we're not getting to. But here is the good news. You aren't being called to nail it. You aren't being called to rock your homeschooling day or to feel in control of everything. I think it was St. Teresa of Calcutta who reminded us that God does not call us to be successful, but to be faithful. If we could all remember that, to be faithful. To bring our basket, right? To trust that he's got this because we most definitely do not have this well in hand. I also love to think about this idea of a tomato seed, that if I was to put a tomato seed in your hand and ask you to turn it into a tomato, could you do that? Could you just turn a seed into a tomato? No, not really. But you would know a few things you could do to help it make it more likely that you could turn it into a tomato, right? You could tend some soil, you could fertilize it, you could plant the seed, you'd water it and tend it and pull any weeds. You would do the work. Basically, you would be faithful to helping it grow, but you're not responsible for the miracle. You can't turn a tomato seed into a plump, juicy red tomato, and neither can I. The good news is he's not asking us to. He is not asking us to have enough to feed the 5,000. He's just asking us to bring our basket. So then what does success look like for us as homeschooling parents? Well, I think it actually looks a lot like faithfulness. It looks a lot like bringing our basket, of bringing what we have and waiting on grace, expecting grace as a promise, expecting him to work that miracle. I often feel like I need to make a big shift in my homeschool to see a difference, right? So I overhaul a plan, or I color code a new schedule or a new chore chart, or I buy a completely new curriculum. There's something about that buy button when you purchase a new curriculum that makes you feel like you've solved all of your problems, right? It doesn't usually work that way. What I found, though, is that it's the small steps that end up making the biggest difference. It's not those big overhauls. It's the little things, the little tiny things that are almost so small and so simple that we wonder if they're making a difference at all. So I made you a bingo card to help you recognize all those tiny things you do. They count. They make a huge difference. These are 25 ways to help you fall more in love with your homeschool, to build a home culture you love, a homeschool you love to be in. You can pick any 5 of these things on this bingo card and you win, because we're not called to be successful. We're called to be faithful. This bingo card will help you do that. Be faithful in the little things. All you have to do to get it is text bingo to the number 33777 to grab it, and then you can start on it today. It's very fun. Now let's circle back to what I asked you at the top. How can your head hit the pillow at night with assurance that you nailed it? Well, you can show up, and so can I. We can bring our basket. We can wait on the Lord to do the rest, because that's what we're called to do. God bless you.